Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com. Today we're going to make blueberry bran muffins, and this is what they look like. This is a moist and flavorful muffin, and it's full of fresh blueberries. So the first thing we will need to do is to preheat our oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 190 degrees Celsius, and then you will need a 12-cup muffin pan. Now you could just line your muffin cups with paper liners, but I'm going to use one of these non-stick sprays and just lightly spray. And then I like to just take a cloth and to wipe off any excess spray on the top. So now, really easy batter to make. So in one large bowl, we're going to mix our dry ingredients. I have 1 cup, which is 130 grams of all-purpose flour. You may know that it's plain flour. To that, I'm going to add 1/3 cup, 45 grams of whole wheat flour. It's going to make it a little more healthy, and it gives nice flavor and texture. Now, people will say, can I use all whole wheat flour? You could. The reason I mix is I find it makes like a little lighter texture muffin, but while you still get the flavor of the whole wheat. So now we are making a bran muffin, so we need bran. You will need 3/4 cup, which is 50 grams. I'm using an unprocessed wheat bran. You see, it's really nice, light flakes. Now you can normally find this on your baking aisle sometimes. If you have a health food section in your grocery store, that's probably where you're going to find it. It's usually in bags or boxes, or you can go to a health food store. Some people say, well, I can't find unprocessed wheat bran. Well, you could just substitute with your favorite brand cereal. That is an alternative. And then you will need 1/2 cup, 100 grams of firmly packed light brown sugar. And then we will need 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of baking soda, 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon, 1 gram of salt, and I'm adding a little bit of ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon. You could add more or less of the ground cinnamon. And then, I'm just going to use my fingers here because brown sugar is a little lumps. So we just want to mix all of that together. Really smell that cinnamon. Okay, that looks good. Dust my hands off. So then for our wet ingredients, another bowl, I have 1 large egg white, just the white, 30 grams. We are trying to make this a little less fatty. And people will say, can I use a whole egg? Yes, you could. But we are trying to cut the fat down a little in this recipe. So just beat it, whisk it until it's frothy. And then I'm going to add just 1/4 cup, 60 milliliters of a flavorless oil. And by that I mean like a vegetable, corn, canola, safflower oil. Or you'd probably even use a light olive oil. And then for flavoring, 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of pure vanilla extract. Yes, you could leave that out if you don't want it in there, but I do. Then you will need 1 cup, 240 milliliters grams of buttermilk. You can buy buttermilk. You can use buttermilk powder, or you can make a really good substitute. Take 1 cup, 240 milliliters of just milk. Stir in 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Let it sit about 10 minutes at room temperature, and then it is ready to use. And that's a really good substitute. Sometimes you don't have it in the house. Just do it that way. Make that sour milk. It's great. And then we are going to add 2 tablespoons of 40 grams of unsulfured, or just molasses. I'm using an unsulfured molasses. It gives a really nice flavor. It's a very unique flavor. I don't know how to describe it, but it's really good in bran muffins. I'll tell you that. Whisk that. Now I know some people can't get molasses. I mean, for texture, you could use honey. You're not going to get that unique flavor of molasses, but the texture will be there. So now, It's blueberry bran muffins. We need blueberries. I'm using frozen. Fresh are not available right now for me. So I'm using 1 cup, which is 240 milliliters, or it's about 125 grams of frozen blueberries. Do not defrost your blueberries before adding them to the batter. You know, your muffins may take a minute or two longer to bake when you're using frozen, but they don't tend to bleed so much. If you defrosted them and then added them, your batter's really going to turn blue. And if you don't want to use blueberries, you could use, raisins are very typical for bran muffins, or, dried cranberries, dried cherries, You could even add here a little grated lemon zest or orange zest. That's always nice in bran muffins. So really, you can change it up, which is nice, this recipe. So we're just going to mix this together. Don't overmix. Just until everything is moistened. This is why I like to do it by hand, because I can see if you use a mixer, sometimes you could beat it a little too much and then your muffins might be a little tough in texture, which we don't want. So, and this is so easy to make by hand, why not, right? So there we have it. So, pretty easy. Now we're just going to clean up my mess here. We're just going to divide the batter amongst these 12 muffin cups. I'm using an ice cream scoop. You can just use 2 spoons, but if you have one, makes it a little easier. Big scoop in each. Okay, so it's our last one. Looks good. So what I like to do, let's face it, bran muffins, when you just look at them, they're not the most fanciest looking muffin. So what I like to do is just dress up the tops a little. I've got some rolled oats and just put it over the top like that. Okay. So now, as always, your oven may be different than mine. I find the baking time is about 18 to 20 minutes. I always say, check them a couple minutes before that in case your oven's running a little hot. Of course, they will rise. When you touch them, it'll be firm, and a toothpick inserted into the center will come out clean. So around 18 minutes. So our blueberry bran muffins are done. I've just put the pan on a wire rack. I'm going to let them cool just a little bit, and then when we come back, we will try one. So here we have our blueberry bran muffins. Now, like I said before, normally you look at a bran muffin, it's kind of, But what I like is putting those, just a sprinkling of rolled oats really makes them pop. So people will want to eat them. You eat with your eyes first. So I'm just going to break that open, and now my blueberries were really large, and so they sank to the bottom. There's not much you can do about it. You can kind of try to toss them in the flour, but if they're really heavy in your batter, heavier than your batter is, they're going to sink. Personally, that doesn't bother me, but there you have it, and let's try a bit. I hear quite often people say, I don't like bran muffins. And I say back, well, you probably haven't had a really good bran muffin. And I think these are really good. You have so many flavorful ingredients. You have the whole wheat flour. You have the bran. You have cinnamon, vanilla, molasses, and the blueberries. Really, that makes for a flavorful muffin. And because we use buttermilk, that really gives a moist and tender texture. So really, you have to try these. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joybaking.com.